Good morning, students. Now I am going to tell you about the enemy composed by Pearl Buck, a famous American writer, in which she has described about the events how Dr. Sadao wants to save the life of his enemy, the American, who was Japanese and he had been working in the army. What are the conflicts? What are the challenges that you have to know all about it? Which I am going to make you understand. But before that, I would like to make you recapitulate all the characters that you have once understood in the previous week, which I am going to just replicate now. It is Dr. Sadao Hoki, a Japanese doctor trained by Americans who had stayed in America for 8 years and had got expertise in operation, and coming back to Japan, he had learned and practiced how to make the what spotless operations for which he was famous, and he was renowned in the Japanese army. There was Sadao's father. He was much concerned about his son's education, who was a true patriot, and he always liked to make his career, for which reason he had sent him to America, which was one of the best places, though where he felt so many problems for sheltering himself, and it was Professor Harley and his wife who really showed mercy upon him, and he is very thankful to him for such reason. Hana, who was Sadao's wife, and really he met her in America, who became friends and got married in Japan according to the rituals of the Japanese that really made her understand all kinds of good intentions, and really she accepted the Japanese culture, not only the culture but the nationality too. Tom, who was an American prisoner of war, he was a soldier of US Navy, but anyhow he was shot by the Japanese soldier, and he had to bear the consequences when he was floated in the ocean. Really, his condition was deteriorating because his blood had overflowed so much that he had become feeble, though he had courage to survive. That's why he was able to live. And now it was Dr. Sadao's efforts that made him alive after the operations were made. The old General Takima, who was a sick Japanese army general who needed an operation, and he did not trust the German doctors who were well versed, but he believed that they are so ruthless, merciless, that they could not be trusted, and he believed in Dr. Sadao for his treatment, as he knew that there were more operations to be done to make him alive, and he could get any such moment in his life when his operation could be done in an emergency, as Dr. Sadao had told him. So he was not a very good person, as he treated with his wife so mercilessly. He used to beat her so unkindly that is well known. But he had a very good record of maintaining the victory for his country as the fierce and ferocious battle fought with Manchuria in the War of Manchuria. Really, he had led the country to victory, and he had brought so many trophies and valors for his own country. Really, there was an officer, messenger of the general, who comes to this very man when he sends him to call Dr. Sadao, while his wife misunderstood him that this man had come to arrest Dr. Sadao. She was so nervous, she was so upset seeing that very officer who was in complete uniform that she was confused. Not only confused, but she was in terror. She was thinking that how her husband would live if he is arrested. She thought how her children would live if he was arrested. So she became so nervous. And in nervousness, she came to meet and inform Dr. Sadao, but this officer also followed her and really seeing the officer, Dr. Sadao recognized, and when they both started talking, really her perturbation means Hannah's perturbation, Hannah's worries was over. So here now it was gardener. He was an old gardener in the house of Dr. Sadao who used to maintain that very moss garden, and he just made the garden ground so velvety, so nice that he was famous for. He knew how to enrich the plant with the plant of hysteria with the fowl's blood when it was used for a meal. So he did not allow the any drop of blood falling west, rather he wanted to make it all correct. So it was. Yumi is Hana's maidservant who is very devoted. Though she is devoted, she is submissive and she takes care of Hana's children, babies, but she is quite reluctant when she knows that Tom, a foreigner, an enemy American soldier, had been harbored in her house. She denies. She does not want to remain there. Though she is very much emotionally attached with the babies whom she is to take care of, but she cries and goes away. But she promises that if Hannah needs to take care of her children and if she is called, she can come back and she can maintain all the things. But Hannah is also adamant that she would not call her and give her money that she had worked for and then released her. Because she found that her intention, her mood was just associated with the cook and the gardener who had been serving there for a long, long time. The cook, he was an old cook in the house of Dr. Sadao, and he was also against the will of this very Dr. Sadao who had sheltered an enemy, Tom, who was also tortured by the weather, nature, and the seas. So he thought that the nature had taken revenge and how he would just go against this very will of the nature. So he also did not like that Tom should be harbored. What is its theme? That I must tell you. The enemy gives the message that humanism transcends all man amid prejudices and barriers. Dr. Sadao upholds the ethics of medical profession in treating an enemy. The history is a great lesson of peace, love, sympathy, and fellow feeling of and humanism. Really, a doctor cannot let a patient die, whether he is of his own country or the enemy country, as the Japanese and the Americans were at loggerheads during the Second World War, though he did not pay attention to that. Rather, he considered that he is the man. If not cured in time, certainly he would die. And if he would have been a whole person, certainly he would have left him and he would not take care of that very person. So, as a doctor, his great love and professionalism really recalls his mind and heart to provide treatment to that very man. That is the thing of the lesson that you understand. Thank you, children. Thank you.